Make him feel erased from your life, and he'll come running back with regret. Not because you shouted, not because you explained, not because you begged for him to see your worth. He'll regret it because your silence will scream louder than anything you could ever say. When you erase someone, you don't erase them with hate. You erase them with indifference. And indifference is the one thing no man knows how to fight. See, people don't regret what they still have access to. They only regret what they've lost. As long as you keep answering his calls, replying to his messages, being available when it suits him, he will never feel regret. Why would he? He still has you. But the second you take away that access, the second you cut off his supply of attention, energy, and availability, that's when regret is born. That's when he realizes life without you is emptier than he imagined. Erasure is not about drama. It's not about blocking for show. It's not about posting quotes to prove you've moved on. Erasure is quiet. Erasure is discipline. Erasure is when you no longer explain yourself, no longer chase, no longer check. It's when your world continues without him and you don't look back. That silence is brutal. That absence is haunting. And that void will hit him harder than any angry words ever could. The truth is, people expect a reaction. They expect you to argue, to cry, to fight, to prove your worth. They know how to handle that. What they don't know how to handle is being erased. They don't know how to fight against nothing. When you stop existing in his world, when your life no longer revolves around him, that's when he starts to panic. That's when regret eats him alive. But here's the secret. Erasing him has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with you. You don't erase him to punish him. You erase him to free yourself. You don't disappear to make him chase. You disappear because you've finally realized you deserve better than being an option. His regret is just the side effect. The real victory is your freedom. Absence is powerful because it turns the ordinary into unforgettable. While you were present, he overlooked the things you did, your texts, your care, your support. They were normal. But the second you disappear, those ordinary things become rare. He remembers your laughter, your patience, your presence, and it stings. Because now he doesn't have it anymore. And the more he remembers, the more the regret grows. But you must understand this clearly. If you erase him just to get him back, you've already lost. He will feel your performance. He will sense your game. Real erasure works only when it's real, when you genuinely let go, when you truly stop caring, when you no longer need his validation. That's when the silence is unshakable. That's when the absence is undeniable. That's when regret becomes unbearable. And here's the irony. The moment you stop caring if he regrets it, that's the exact moment he will regret it the most. Because regret grows strongest when someone realizes you don't even think about them anymore. They can't stand the thought of being erased. Their ego can handle hate, but it cannot handle indifference. So make him feel erased, not by punishing, not by pretending, but by moving so fully into your own life that he becomes nothing more than a faded memory. Don't wait for his calls. Don't stalk his moves. Don't replay the past. Focus on your growth. Focus on your glow. Focus on the life you were too distracted to live when you were giving him all of you. Because when you rise, he falls. When you shine, he regrets. When you move on, he realizes he's been left behind. The greatest revenge is not in proving your worth to him. It's in knowing your worth without him. It's in erasing him so completely from your life that even if he comes back with regret, you're already past the point of needing him. That's the true erasure. Not when he feels the pain of losing you, but when you feel the peace of no longer wanting him. So erase him, quietly, completely, with no announcement, no performance, no need for anyone's validation. Because silence is the sharpest sword, absence is the loudest statement, and regret will be his, not yours. Erasure is not revenge, it's self-respect. Revenge is about them, erasure is about you. Revenge says, I want to make you feel what I felt. Self-respect says, I will no longer allow you to have access to me. That's the difference. One is about their pain, the other is about your peace. And peace will always be the stronger choice. Too many people confuse erasing someone from their life with trying to hurt them. But that's not erasure. That's still obsession. If you're watching, waiting, checking, hoping they'll notice your absence, you haven't erased them. You've only shifted the game. Real erasure doesn't come with an audience. It doesn't come with a speech. It doesn't come with the desire for them to feel the loss. Real erasure is silent, disciplined, final. You erase them because you have standards. You erase them because you refuse to keep giving energy where it's not honored. You erase them because you finally realize that your time, your heart, and your attention are not things to be wasted on someone who never valued them in the first place. That's not revenge. That's respect. Respect for yourself. Revenge is noisy. Revenge posts, performs, and seeks validation. Self-respect is quiet. It doesn't need to announce anything because the results speak for themselves. The life you build without them, the joy you create without them, the glow you carry without them. That is your statement. And it's louder than any revenge could ever be. When you erase someone, you're not erasing their existence. You're erasing their power over your emotions. You're erasing the grip they had on your thoughts. You're erasing the cycle that kept you chasing, explaining, waiting. You're cutting the cord. And in that silence, in that absence, something shifts. Not in them, though regret may come, but in you. You reclaim your energy. You reclaim your peace. You reclaim yourself. Think about it. If you truly loved yourself, would you keep chasing someone who showed you they couldn't choose you? If you truly respected yourself, would you still hand over your time to someone who wasted it? If you truly valued yourself, would you still beg for attention from someone who never gave it freely? Erasure is the answer to those questions. It's not punishment. It's protection. And here's the beauty. You don't need them to feel it for it to work. You don't need them to regret, to notice, to react. Erasure works the moment you decide it's real, the moment you stop checking, the moment you stop hoping, the moment you stop rehearsing conversations in your head. That's when erasure begins. That's when self-respect becomes your fuel. Because when you carry self-respect, you no longer need revenge. You don't need to prove they were wrong. You don't need to make them regret losing you. You don't need them to wake up and finally see your value. You already see it. You already know it. You already live it. That's enough. But here's the irony. The moment you truly erase someone, the moment you stop caring, the moment you stop reacting, that's when they feel it the most. Not because you tried to make them feel it, but because silence is impossible to ignore. Anger can be dismissed. Pleading can be laughed off. But indifference, that cuts deep. That's when regret is born. Yet by then, it won't even matter to you. Because when erasure comes from self-respect, their regret is irrelevant. Whether they notice or not doesn't change your peace. Whether they come back or not doesn't change your growth. Whether they regret it or not doesn't change your freedom. That's the difference between revenge and respect. Revenge still needs them, respect doesn't. So erase them. Erase them not because you want to hurt them, but because you refuse to hurt yourself by holding on any longer. Erase them not because you want them to feel the loss, but because you're ready to feel the gain of living without their weight. Erase them not because you're angry, but because you're finally free. Erasure is not revenge, it's self-respect. And once you learn to choose self-respect over reaction, you will never beg again. You will never chase again. You will never hand your power to someone who doesn't deserve it. Because you'll know the truth. Nothing is louder, nothing is stronger, and nothing is more final than the silence of someone who has chosen themselves. That silence is your statement. That absence is your victory. That peace is your proof. Revenge seeks to wound, but self-respect heals. And once you taste that healing, you'll never look back. Absence speaks louder than presence. Presence can be taken for granted, but absence forces attention. When you're there every time, answering, showing up, giving, they assume you'll always be there. They stop noticing the weight of your presence because it feels guaranteed. But the moment you step away, the moment your voice, your attention, your energy disappear, that silence thunders louder than anything you ever said. Presence comforts people, but absence confronts them. Presence says, I'm still here. Absence says, you've lost me. And that difference is everything. People often fail to value what they think is permanent. Only when it's gone do they realize it wasn't permanent at all. It was a privilege. And privileges taken for granted are always felt most deeply in their absence. Absence is powerful because it exposes the truth. When you stop texting, stop calling, stop showing up, They're forced to notice the void. The laugh they ignored, the care they dismissed, the support they assumed, suddenly it's gone. And in that silence, they start replaying what they once had. That's when regret begins. That's when presence, once invisible, becomes unforgettable. Words can be ignored. Arguments can be dismissed. But silence is haunting. You don't need to tell someone how much they've lost. You need only stop giving. Your absence will do the talking. Your absence will do the teaching. Your absence will do the punishing. And it will be far louder than anything your presence could ever scream. But here's the truth. Absence has power only when it's real. If you disappear just to see if they'll notice, that's not absence. That's performance. If you step away but secretly keep waiting for them, you haven't erased them. You've only paused. Real absence is when you no longer need them to notice. It's when you stop caring whether regret comes or not. It's when you move on so completely that your absence isn't a tactic. It's your reality. And ironically, that's the very moment your absence hits hardest. Because the second you no longer care is the exact second they start to. When you're not thinking about them, they start thinking about you. When you stop chasing, they start wondering. When you stop speaking, the silence echoes. Absence is unforgettable because it's final. You want to know why absence is louder than presence? Because presence makes people comfortable, but absence makes them restless. When you're around, they know what to expect. But when you're gone, uncertainty creeps in. Questions fill the silence. Who are you with? What are you doing? How did you move on so quickly? And those questions torture more than any speech ever could. Absence is not about making them suffer. It's about making yourself free. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you no longer need them. You don't step away to create regret. You step away to reclaim your peace. Their regret is only the side effect. The real reward is the silence inside you, the calm that comes from no longer being tied to someone who never valued you. And when you choose absence, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting for closure. You stop needing apologies. You stop checking if they finally get it. You no longer care if they regret losing you, because your life is already louder than their silence. You've built a world without them, and that world is stronger, brighter, freer. That's the paradox. The less you give, the more powerful it becomes. The less you show up, the more they feel you. The less you speak, the more they remember your words. The less you're present, the more unforgettable you become. That's why absence speaks louder than presence, because it forces value through loss. So stop trying to prove your worth with presence. Stop trying to be louder, clearer, more available, more convincing. Instead, step back, step away, disappear. Let your absence speak for you, because the silence will say everything you've been shouting, and it will be heard in ways your presence never was. Absence doesn't beg. Absence doesn't explain. Absence doesn't chase. Absence simply exists. And in its quiet power, it teaches the hardest lesson. Once someone is gone, no amount of regret can bring them back the same way. That's why absence is unforgettable. That's why absence is loud. That's why absence is final. Energy redirected is power reclaimed. Every time you pour your energy into someone who doesn't value it, you give away pieces of your strength. You scatter your focus, you weaken your presence, you shrink your own potential. But the moment you stop pouring that energy into a dead end, the moment you redirect it back into yourself, your growth, your future, that's when your true power comes alive again. Energy is the most valuable currency you have. More valuable than time, because time passes whether you use it or not, but energy decides how that time feels. When your energy is drained by chasing someone, waiting for their attention, overthinking their words, you are not just wasting hours, you are bleeding your own strength. You're running a race on an empty tank, and then you wonder why you feel tired, small, unworthy. The truth is, no one can steal your power. They can only receive the power you hand them through your energy. When you argue, when you beg, when you keep giving attention to someone who doesn't give it back, you're placing your power in their hands. They don't even need to try to control you. You hand them the remote yourself. But the moment you stop feeding them, the moment you redirect that energy, the remote breaks. You take the controls back. That's what reclaiming power looks like. Think about how much time and energy people waste on what they can't control. Hours replaying conversations, days waiting for replies, weeks hoping for change, months holding on to someone who already let go. And all that energy could have been fueling their growth, their peace, their future. The same energy that could build something new is instead wasted keeping something broken alive. But when you redirect, everything shifts. The same intensity you used to give to them, you now give to yourself. The same focus you wasted analyzing their mixed signals, you now use to build clarity in your own path. The same passion you poured into trying to fix what was unfixable, you now pour into creating a life so solid, so magnetic, that you no longer need anyone's validation to feel worthy. That's the power of redirection. Energy is like water. It will flow somewhere. If you keep letting it flood into places where it's not valued, you'll drown in exhaustion. But if you redirect it into the right soil, it grows roots, it feeds your dreams, it builds something unshakable. And the people who once drained you will look up one day and realize you've built a life that doesn't even have space for them anymore. That's when regret finds them. But by then, it won't even matter to you, because your energy will already be fueling a future too big to look back. The reason redirection feels so powerful is because it breaks dependency. When your energy is tied to someone else's attention, you feel powerless. When your energy is tied to your own vision, your own healing, your own goals, you become unstoppable. You no longer wait for someone else to validate you. You no longer beg for scraps. You no longer hand over the keys to your peace. You realize you were the power source all along. And here's the truth. People feel when your energy shifts. They notice when the calls stop, when the attention fades, when your focus is no longer centered on them. They feel the void your absence creates. And that silence, that lack of access speaks louder than anything you could say. You don't have to announce your redirection. The results announce it for you. The glow on your face, the strength in your voice, the peace in your life, that's your statement. Energy redirected is not just power reclaimed, it's freedom reclaimed. It's your heart no longer held hostage by someone who didn't deserve it. It's your mind no longer clouded by confusion. It's your spirit no longer weighed down by disappointment. It's you unchained. And when you live unchained, you radiate a strength no one can ignore. So take back your energy. Take it from the endless waiting, the overthinking, the begging. Take it from the places it was wasted and give it to the places it will grow. Build yourself, heal yourself, invest in yourself. Because the greatest shift you will ever feel is the one that happens when your energy no longer leaks. It fuels. And once you redirect it, you'll never again wonder where your power went. You'll know it was always yours. The ultimate win is not his regret. It's your freedom. Regret belongs to him, but freedom belongs to you. Regret keeps him trapped in what he lost. Freedom sets you free to live without limits. And too many people chase the wrong victory. They wait for him to feel it, to wake up, to realize, but that's not the win. The win is when you stop waiting for his realization and start walking into your liberation. Regret is small. It's about him. Freedom is massive. It's about you. If you spend your life waiting for him to regret losing you, you're still tethered to him. Your energy is still chained to his choices. You're still handing him the power to decide when you can feel victorious. But the moment you stop caring about his regret, the moment you start caring only about your freedom, you win. That's the shift that changes everything. Because let's be honest, regret doesn't heal you. His tears don't give you back the nights you cried. His guilt doesn't erase the times you begged. His apologies don't restore the love you wasted. Even if he regrets it, you don't win, he just loses. But when you choose freedom, you don't just escape him. You escape the version of yourself that settled, that chased, that stayed small for love that wasn't real. That's the real victory. Freedom is not about him noticing you're gone. Freedom is about you no longer noticing he's missing. Freedom is waking up with peace instead of anxiety. Freedom is not checking your phone for his name anymore. Freedom is building a life so full that his absence doesn't feel like a hole. It feels like space. Space for growth, space for joy, space for something real. And that's why freedom is the ultimate win, because it's a win that doesn't depend on him. Regret is tied to his awareness, but freedom is tied to your choice. You get to decide today, do I keep waiting for his regret or do I start living in my freedom? And once you choose freedom, the game is over. Not for him, for you. Because you're no longer playing. You've already moved on to a bigger arena. When you chase regret, you're still looking back. When you choose freedom, you're looking forward. And that's why people who once hurt you end up chasing later. Because they see you've stopped looking back. They see you've outgrown the game. They see you found something they can't touch. Peace. That's what absence does. That's what silence does. That's what freedom does. It turns you into someone unforgettable, not because of pain, but because of power. The irony is, when you stop caring about his regret, that's when it usually comes. But by then, it doesn't even matter anymore. His regret is not your prize. Your freedom is. His regret is not your healing. Your peace is. His regret is not your power. Your growth is. That's why the ultimate win will never be about him. It will always be about you. Think about what freedom feels like. No more explaining yourself. No more lowering your standards. No more chasing someone's attention like it's oxygen. You breathe freely. You live boldly. You love yourself fully. That's not just survival. That's victory. Because nothing is louder, nothing is stronger, and nothing is more final than a woman who is free from someone who once thought she couldn't walk away. Freedom is not forgetting him. It's remembering yourself. It's not proving him wrong. It's proving yourself right. It's not hoping he regrets it. It's no longer needing him to. That's when you reclaim your life. That's when you realize the win was never about him. It was always about you stepping back into your power. The ultimate win is not his regret. It's your freedom. And once you taste it, you'll never trade it for anyone's validation again. Because regret is fleeting, but freedom is forever. And no one, no man, no loss, no mistake can ever take that away once you've chosen it.